Well. So there were more things for us to talk about the other day, and we had some technical difficulties. So we're going to resume talking about the things that we meant to talk about yesterday. And one of the topics that I was about to get into was, is Dak Prescott underappreciated? When you think about all of the things that Dak Prescott has endured with this franchise, and some would even say that this franchise has endured with Dak Prescott, but nevertheless, Dak Prescott has been Mr. Dependable for the most part, been top 5 quarterback for quite a while. And the issue has been with Dak Prescott is there has been the team around him has not been good enough, and people will not acknowledge that. But I believe that we are finally about to see Dak Prescott get his just due. And I believe we're about to see Dak Prescott get the chip. Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. Hey! Thank God it's Friday. Some of y'all have no more work this coming weekend. And so it is a good time to relax, sit back, and continue to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go. Let's get it. Welcome, Dallas Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And as you come into this live stream, please hit that like button, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, so you know the next time we post another video or go live. And yes, we are live horizontally and vertically. And if you haven't become a channel member subscriber yet, what are you waiting on? Man, we got a great show today. We have an absolutely great show today. Didn't get a chance to fix this yesterday. Finished this yesterday, but we're going to finish it. Is Dak Prescott underappreciated? Then we're going to talk about a story from 2 days ago that I'm going to get to today. Torrey Holt talking about George Pickens. Then I'm going to tell you about a story that's going on over there in Philadelphia. And we think what's going on with George Pickens is crazy. Well, wait till you see what's going on in Philadelphia. Then we're going to talk about these Cowboys signings. In particular, this Charles Snowden, this defensive end from the Raiders. The Cowboys may be on to something. And then we're going to talk a little bit about this Brandon Sorsby noise. I call it noise. It's not news, it's noise. And then I got a great story with James Houston. And then we're going to talk about, or we're going to listen to a few more Cowboys player interviews. And then I got some other things that are not listed. So all I am telling you, we got a packed show, but I got to get it in by 8 o'clock. Got some other things I got to take care of, but we're going to try to get it in by 8 o'clock. And if we don't, you never know. We might do Cowboys After Dark. But nevertheless, that is going to be where we are today, what I told you. So, y'all get ready. Buckle up. Let's go. Let's get it. All right, let's get this quick roll call in. We got people slowing around getting in today, but it's all good. We're going to get this quick roll call in, and then we're going to get this show started. Dominique Pittman. He said Dak Prescott is very underappreciated. Demetrius Noel said yes, Dak is underappreciated. Brandy said yes. Hondo, what up? Big Mix, what's going on? Happy Juneteenth. What's going on, Richard Valles? Saw the video saying Dak is top 5. He's good. We can get to the playoffs this year, no doubt about it. Tony Neesmo, he said he's very underappreciated and often hated. John Henry, Big Dal, Freddie Morales, El Chuco in the building. Brandy said, hey, my loves. What is going on, Andre Johnson? Gabe Robinson, what is going on this Friday? He said Dak is a great quarterback. If he just had a defense that could hold up, he would take us to a Super Bowl. I agree. Blessings, Larry Hunter. Blaine, what up, Blaine? Good to see you. Frank Lawrence, what up, Frank Lawrence? Big Moss Dog, what up? 72 Chevelle, what's going on? Man, I had some technical difficulties yesterday, 72 Chevelle. Good to be back. What up, Marvin Mays? Good to see you. Chris Dunaway. He said Dak has been the backbone of this franchise. I agree. What's going on, Hadassah? What is going on? What's going on, Aiden? Let's get it. JD Burton roughing in the crib. What up, Q Ball? JCT Slice. He said, my spicy question, but I'm going to say yes because, he said spicy question. He said, but I'm going to say yes because it feels like some of our fans have wanted him gone for years. He's arguably elite, but not treated that way always. We still have 4. Let's go. I agree. What's going on, Joseph Mitchell from Grenada? Good to see you. Thomas Ring Jr., what is going on? Good to see you. Blaine said hit that like button. What up, Richard Owens? What's going on, PTX? Good to see you. Oh, you said JSN or Puka? I take Puka every single day of the week over JSN. Every single day of the week. I don't think people understand PTX how good Puka is. Hey, Puka look crazy off the field, but he a demon on the field. Man, Puka Nacua, he different, man. Puka Nacua different. He absolutely different, man. When you look at his productivity, Puka Nacua is different. Just like CeeDee Lamb, just like George Pickens, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, man, Puka Nacua is one of them. He different, bro. All right, so let's get into this show for today. And I want to take you to a discussion that I saw them having the other day. And none other than, as we call him in Cowboy land, we call him Captain Clap. We call him Captain Clap. Y'all remember? Everybody call him Captain Clap. Y'all remember that? Well, Jason Garrett, who is responsible or is partially responsible for bringing in Dak Prescott. I mean, I think he was instrumental in bringing him in. Oh, man, PTX, man, ooh, that's tough right there. You said Lamb or Pickens. Man, that's tough. For me, it all depends on the type of wide receiver you're looking for as it applies to Lamb and Pickens. I would rather, well, I'll put it like this, PTX, just for the sake of argument tonight. I don't want to upset any of us tonight. But just for the sake of argument, I'm just glad we got both of them. That's what I'm going to tell you. We got 2 number 1 wide receivers. I'm just glad we have both of them. We have both of them. JK Cowboy said Dak is underperforming. Well, if Dak is underperforming, then what are you saying about the rest of the team? Dak has actually been the best performer on the team. So if Dak is underperforming, then what do you call these other, what do you call the rest of the team? But I like what Dak Prescott said the other day when he was talking about Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams, 7 years in the league, hasn't been to the playoffs yet. And Dak Prescott said, I'm going to get us there. But the most powerful thing that Dak Prescott said to Quinnen Williams is, but I need you to help me. I need you to help me on defense. I always laugh at people who say that Dak Prescott underperformed. And every time I go back to Troy Aikman, they start getting in their feelings. Troy Aikman was severely underperforming. They went to go get Norv Turner to fix one Troy Aikman. And by the way, Jimmy Johnson put a number 1 rated defense on the other side of him. And that helped a whole lot. And if the Cowboys want to help Dak Prescott, they need to put the top 5 defense on the other side of one Rain Dakota Prescott. But a lot of us, I think a lot of us are in the same mindset. At this point, I don't even think Dak Prescott needs a top 5 defense. I would prefer him to have a top 5 defense. But I think a lot of us are in the mindset right now that if Dak Prescott can just get a top 15 defense, it's going to be problems with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. It's going to be problems. Now, Dak has not been underperforming. Jerry Jones has been underperforming. That's who's been underperforming. And y'all know I love Jerry Jones, but Jerry Jones has been underperforming because he never put the team, he has yet to put the team around Dak Prescott that he put around Troy Aikman. And the person who's responsible for that is Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson put that team together around Troy Aikman and also put a coaching staff together around Troy Aikman in that defense. See, a lot of people don't realize we're trying to compare Dak Prescott like we're comparing apples and apples. We're not comparing apples and apples because when you talk about Dak Prescott and Troy Aikman, they're both great quarterbacks. But when you start comparing what was around these two quarterbacks, that's where people fall off the boat. Dak Prescott has never had a defense opposite of him that Troy Aikman had opposite of him. I'm not buying it. I don't buy those arguments. We keep making playoffs in the Super Bowl. We keep making playoffs in a Super Bowl a quarterback stat. That's not a quarterback stat. That's a team stat. All right, let's get on over here, man. I got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Let's get on over here. And I want to take you to this story. Let's see, this is actually Jason Garrett, I believe. This is Jason Garrett talking about Dak Prescott. And just give me just a second. It's been a couple of days. I've been trying to get this story for a couple of days. So let me go back in my notes here. All right, let's see. Dak Prescott unappreciated. I'm going to show you some other things too. I want to show you some things from training camp. We're going to look at some training camp photos and things of that nature. All right, let me see. Can I? All right, hold on. All right, let me continue to talk. Let me go see. I thought I had this in my notes. But Jason Garrett is having a conversation about Dak Prescott being unappreciated. And I think it's very interesting what he was saying. Let me see. Yeah, let's pull this up. Jason Garrett was on Up and Adams. So let's check out. He actually talked about a couple of things about the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll probably come back to another one of these things here too. But let's listen to Jason Garrett as the question is asked, is Dak Prescott underappreciated? All right, hold on just a second. All right, is Dak Prescott underappreciated?
I said, go on.
When you put your MVP stuff up there was a conspicuous absence to me.
I don't even know if he's a dark horse. I can ask Hamilton. Is he considered a dark horse? I guess he is. I want it for him so bad. He's got CD. He's got George. Like, is there any reason to think I shouldn't just be screaming from the rooftops that this is a Super Bowl winning team this year? Why are you smiling like that?
Well, I'm smiling because I love the guy. I think he gives them a chance, and I think he's played so well, and I do think he's an underappreciated player. There's so much scrutiny about the Cowboys and his position that he's in, and so with that becomes a lot of emotions. But when you just pull back and watch how he's played for 10 years now, he's just played at a really high level, and I think he gives them a chance to have success. And they've certainly made a lot of positive moves for their defense. Last year, the way the whole thing was handled with Micah, and they had no chance on the defensive side of the ball. I do think they're in a much better place. The one thing that I think he would tell you, Dak, would be, as well as we played on offense, the numbers were really gaudy. I think he would say, hey, we got to play better in a lot of these big games that we need to win. And, the defense was the biggest issue they had, but they need to play consistently well offensively throughout the year. And I think they have a great chance to do that. The line, there's a lot of resources on the offensive line. There's great weapons. He's running the show. So I think they have a great chance to have a really good year.
I want to.
Yeah. You notice what they talked about. See, the issue is when you go back and look at the history of even these 2-5 playoffs, and we did that we did that I think last year. When you go back and look at those games, Dak Prescott didn't underperform in those games. Dak Prescott has actually played well in the playoffs. The issue with Dak Prescott is that Dak Prescott hasn't had other players rise up around him and make big plays. Let me give you a prime example of what I'm talking about.
Super Bowl.
See, a lot of people don't realize, nobody remembers the details. Nobody remembers the details. But I'm going to give you some details. And there's one detail in one Super Bowl that comes to my mind. Does anybody remember the New England Patriots? Does anybody remember the Patriots versus the Seahawks Super Bowl? A lot of people will talk about Tom Brady, and I don't get me wrong. Tom Brady is the GOAT. Tom Brady is the GOAT. But a lot of people don't realize that Tom Brady, in his career, in some of those Super Bowls, Tom Brady has actually had some of the most incredible plays you'll ever see in your life happen around him. See, a lot of people give Tom Brady the credit for winning the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks. But the reality is, there's a player by the name of Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Butler made one of the most incredible plays you will ever see in a Super Bowl. Malcolm Butler did that. And because Malcolm Butler did that, Tom Brady got all the credit. Tom Brady got all the credit. A lot of people do not realize Dak Prescott does not have players around him making those types of plays. No, we've depended on Dak Prescott to make all those plays. And that's the problem. We put everything on the shoulders of Dak Prescott. We say it's either Dak or bust. It's either Dak makes the play or nobody makes the play. But when you look at one Tom Brady, there has been multiple times in Tom Brady's career. See, people forget the details, but the devil is in the details. People forget the details. Tom Brady has won Super Bowls because people have made absolutely incredible plays. They've made incredible plays that don't even make sense in the grand scheme of things. That Malcolm Butler play was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And also, when you go back and look at Tom Brady, go back and look at those defenses. Go back and look at the defenses that Tom Brady played with. See, a lot of people be acting like, and don't get me wrong, Tom Brady is the GOAT. But understand that Tom Brady did not win those Super Bowls by himself. There were people making humongous plays that even when Tom Brady made mistakes, see, a lot of people see the devil's in the details. See, people don't realize that Tom Brady has made mistakes in these Super Bowls. He's absolutely made mistakes. But it is the players around Tom Brady. And people don't give the players around Tom Brady enough credit for Tom Brady being successful. I'm going to tell you, I can destroy every single argument that people make about Dak Prescott. I can destroy every single argument. There's another thing that people don't know, that don't talk enough about, not just Tom Brady, but when you start talking about Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, I'm going to come back to Tom Brady in a minute. But when you look at the last 20 teams, and you know what? Let me start here first. Let me start with our beloved Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to give you a stat that nobody talks about. This is why I'm going to show you how Dak Prescott is underappreciated. I'm going to show you how Dak Prescott is underappreciated. I'm going to show you an incredible stat. And I'm going to show you why people are liars when it comes to Dak Prescott. Because people turn Super Bowls into a quarterback stat. It's not a quarterback stat. Because we've actually seen quarterbacks play worse than Dak Prescott and they still win. Because they have people around them making humongous plays. So I want y'all to think about this. I was going to go to the last 20 Super Bowl winners, but I'm going to give you something even better than that. So in the history of the Dallas Cowboys, we've only had 3 coaches to win Super Bowls in the Dallas Cowboys' entire history. We've only had 3 coaches. And one of those coaches, if we're being honest, he rode the Super Bowl from the previous coach's regime. Let me take you there. This is the 3 coaches that have won Super Bowls for the Dallas Cowboys. These are the 3 coaches that have won Super Bowls for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, user, you make a very good, you ask a good question, but you're not asking the right question. See, you keep saying how many playoff wins has he won? No. Quarterbacks don't win Super Bowls. If that's what you think, you are sadly mistaken. If there was ever a quarterback that was going to win a Super Bowl by himself, it was Cam Newton. And even Cam Newton proved you cannot win a Super Bowl by yourself as the quarterback. Cam Newton is one of the super freak athletes that we have. Cam Newton could not win a Super Bowl by himself. And every time you tell me that a quarterback won a Super Bowl, I'm going to go back and show you where you're lying. Respectively, you're lying because teams win Super Bowls. And I want to bring you to Exhibit A. There are 3 coaches that have won Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys. And really, there's only been 2. Tom Landry. Tom Landry, 2 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys, 72, 78. Tom Landry. Tom Landry coached offense, defense, and special teams. Tom Landry, Roger Staubach is the greatest quarterback to ever play for the Dallas Cowboys. And guess what? Roger Staubach was surrounded with talent. Roger Staubach was surrounded with talent. But it's not just talent he was surrounded by. He had one of, if not the greatest coach to ever walk on a football field. Tom Landry has to be in the top 5 coaches in NFL history. Period. End of story. Period. End of story. The second coach to win a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson. And in reality, technically, he's the last coach to win a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys because that team that Barry Switzer won with, that was actually Jimmy Johnson's team. But we're not going to just take that away from Barry. So we got 3 coaches. Jimmy Johnson. What did Jimmy Johnson do? Jimmy Johnson put a super team around Troy Aikman. Brought in Norv Turner to specifically fix Troy Aikman. Specifically. People don't understand Troy Aikman's career is defined in 6 seasons. Bottom line, it's defined in 6 seasons. Troy Aikman was surrounded by a super team. When they got beat in 1994, Jerry Jones went and got Deion Sanders so that he could try to secure us a Super Bowl in 1995. And so the Cowboys won a Super Bowl in 1995. Barry Switzer wasn't the greatest coach, but the team was so great that Jimmy had built around Troy Aikman that team could still win based on what Jimmy Johnson did. And at the end of the day, teams win Super Bowls. So minus Barry Switzer. So let's think about the coaches. Let's think about the coaches that Dak Prescott has been under. Who are the coaches? I want you to think about the coaches that Dak Prescott has played for. See, even Colin Cowherd had to concede this argument. Even Colin Cowherd conceded the very argument that I'm about to show you. I'm going to show you, I'm telling you, I'm going to show you the stats that matter. Not only am I going to do this for Dak Prescott, I'm going to show you this even from the perspective of Tony Romo. And Tony Romo might have had it better than Dak Prescott. Let's look at the coaches they've had. These are the coaches for Tony Romo and Dak Prescott. Tony Romo did have Bill Parcells. He did have Bill Parcells. In the grand scheme of things, he had Bill Parcells. But Jerry Jones didn't trust Bill Parcells the way that he's trusting Brian Schottenheimer. And so he didn't let Bill Parcells do all of the things that he's letting Brian Schottenheimer do. Football fanatic, I'm going to disagree with you. Now, we don't need Dak Prescott to elevate in big games. What we need everyone else to do is their doggone job in big games. You don't need Dak Prescott to elevate in big games. And you don't pay quarterbacks big-time money so that they elevate the team in big games. That is actually mythology. There is nobody who pays quarterbacks big money to elevate in big games. There's nobody that pays quarterbacks to do that. That is a fallacy. That actually doesn't happen. They don't do that. They pay that doggone quarterback to do his job. That's what they pay him to do. And they're supposed to put players around that quarterback to do their doggone job too. And if they don't do their doggone job, I don't care how good that quarterback is. He cannot. There is actually not a team. There is actually not a quarterback, contrary to what we believe. There is actually not a quarterback in existence who actually elevates a team that doesn't play well around him. That quarterback doesn't exist. If the wide receivers drop passes, I don't care what that quarterback does. If the line isn't blocking, I don't care what that quarterback does. If the line isn't blocking, the running back isn't running, I don't care what that quarterback does. If the defense isn't getting stops, if the defense isn't stopping the run, if the defense isn't getting sacks, if the defense isn't getting pressure on the quarterback, I don't care what that quarterback does. He's not winning. John Elway is the prime example of the argument I'm making, because John Elway is one of the greatest quarterbacks we ever saw in our life. And John Elway could not elevate the Denver Broncos to a Super Bowl. Terrell Davis. When Terrell Davis came to the Denver Broncos, everything changed for John Elway. Every single thing changed for John Elway. It is very few of these unicorn quarterbacks. Very few. And I'm even going to debunk the mythology of even Patrick Mahomes. As much as I love Patrick Mahomes, it's mythology. It's mythology. These are Tony Romo's quarterbacks. Would anybody say that Wade Phillips, I'm going to give Wade Phillips some credit. But would anybody say that Wade Phillips is better than Jimmy Johnson or Tom Landry? Would anybody say Jason Garrett? Would anybody say Jason Garrett is better than Jimmy or Tom Landry? Would anybody put those two coaches in the same breath as Jimmy Johnson and Tom Landry? What I'm telling you is Exhibit A. Coaching matters every single time. Coaching matters every single time. Every single time coaching matters. Every time you tell me a quarterback elevated a team, I'm going to show you you're wrong. The coach and the team won that Super Bowl, and we gave the quarterback credit. There are very few of these unicorn quarterbacks. Very few. I want you to look at Dak Prescott. Colin Cowherd had to concede this. Look at who Dak Prescott's coaches have been. Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy. Would we put Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy on the level of Tom Landry and Jimmy Johnson? Would we really put them on that level? Mike McCarthy, the indictment on Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy had Aaron Rodgers the majority of his career and could only get one Super Bowl out of arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen in our life. Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest. Aaron Rodgers in his prime. I don't think there's maybe two quarterbacks in front of him. Aaron Rodgers was an absolute alien. Mike McCarthy could only get one Super Bowl out of him. That's all he could get out of him is one Super Bowl. Coaching matters. Dak Prescott, offense coordinators, made Scott Linehan look good, made Kellen Moore look good, made Jason Garrett look good, now making Brian Schottenheimer look good. Dak Prescott hasn't had Super Bowl level coaches, Hall of Fame coaches. Dak Prescott has not had the coaching that even a Patrick Mahomes has had. People do not understand something. Andy Reid is going to go down in NFL history. Andy Reid is going to go down in NFL history as one of the top 5 greatest coaches ever. Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes has been playing for Andy Reid, who has been running the Kansas City Chiefs organization. Stellar. Went out and got one of the greatest defensive coordinators to ever coach defenses. People sleep on how good the coaching has been during Patrick Mahomes' tenure. It's been absolutely great. Coaching matters. Players matter. The teams around those players matter. People don't realize something. If you don't think that Tyreek Hill mattered in the career, that he mattered in the career of Patrick Mahomes, we're crazy. If you don't think Chris Jones and that defense has mattered in the career of Patrick Mahomes, we're missing it. The issue that Jerry Jones and the indictment on Jerry Jones as it applies to Dak Prescott, he's never put the teams around Dak Prescott. And I'm going to go a little bit further. I don't think he even put the teams around Tony Romo, even though Tony Romo got close with that offensive line. Even then, they fell short on defense. Jerry Jones has never put the team around Dak Prescott that they put around Troy Aikman. He has yet to do it. Coaching matters. The GM and how he's doing the team, it matters. It matters. Every single time it matters. And Dak Prescott has been the constant in this organization. And Dak Prescott has been the most consistent player in this organization. They have failed to put the teams around this man. And they absolutely know it. And that is why you are watching Jerry Jones now in year 11 of Dak Prescott's career. And as I said, better late than never. NFL history. It is indisputable on this issue. Indisputable. And so when you start talking about Dak Prescott, Dak Prescott is very, very underrated. Very underrated, very underappreciated. And this is one of the reasons why now you're starting to get more and more people. They're starting to concede to this point because they're realizing that Dak Prescott hasn't had the coaches around him. They're realizing it. They're realizing it. Dominique said, "You're better than me, G. I'm done trying to convince folks the kind of quarterback Dak is." All right, hey, they're working on something over here in my area, and I think that's what's going on. Let me see. Let me do a quick test. Yeah, we were having some issues earlier. We thought we got it fixed. Hold on just a second here. All right, hold on. We should be picking back up. I see the bandwidth. All right, can y'all hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. It looks like it's still pretty good over here. Okay, all right. So we're back. All right, so make sure you refresh your buffer real quick. Okay, good. 72. Okay, good. Looks like everything is back to normal. I was just checking the bandwidth. Y'all forgive me. We're having some things out of my control over here. I paid my bill. I mean, we having some issues over here. Yeah, they're working on something over here, Derrick Rose. They're over here digging up stuff. That's why I had a power outage the other day. They're doing some crazy stuff over here right now. All right. So again, we start talking about Dak Prescott. People don't realize what we're dealing with. What we are dealing with. And again, as much as a lot of y'all know, I love Jerry Jones. But Jerry Jones, man, for 30 years, and there was some years in there where Jerry did some things right, because we had to point this out. Jerry did some things right in the Tony Romo era. They just didn't win. There was some games. I mean, I can think of a couple of years in the Tony Romo years. There's probably about 3 years in the Tony Romo years that the Cowboys actually should have went further than they did. They actually should have went further than they did. And Tony Romo was directly responsible for some of those letdowns. But as it applies to Dak Prescott, when you go look at Dak Prescott's playoff career as a whole, Dak Prescott has actually had some very good games. That's the part that people don't understand. He's actually had some really good games. The issue is that the people around Dak Prescott didn't have the games that they were supposed to have. When you think about the Dallas Cowboys with Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith was dominant in the playoffs. Their run game was dominant in the playoffs. We haven't been dominant in the playoffs in our run game. When you think about us in the playoffs, we put everything on Dak Prescott. Everything. Everything is on Dak Prescott. He's got to do it all. I mean, Dak Prescott has almost got to play defense for us. I mean, it's that bad. And someone said that Dak Prescott seems to look a little scared in playoffs. I'm not so sure that Dak Prescott is scared in playoffs. But I want you to think about this. What if you went into a playoff game? What if you went into a playoff game knowing this? That you couldn't make any mistakes. Just imagine that as a quarterback. You go into the playoffs and you know you can't make a mistake. I think some people think that Dak is afraid of the moment. I don't think Dak is afraid of the moment. I think Dak understands what's around him. And some of that is Dak is kind of like, I can't make a mistake. Michael Parsons said something that people will never want to listen to stuff that sounds right. Michael Parsons said something that people don't understand. Michael Parsons said, if your defense can't have your quarterback's back on 2 turnovers, he said your defense isn't good enough. Michael Parsons said that. Michael Parsons said your defense should be good for 2 turnovers at least. Michael Parsons said that. Michael Parsons said if your quarterback can't make a mistake, if your quarterback can't turn the ball over, he said, no, your defense ain't good enough. And he is absolutely right. You have got to be able, if a quarterback enters into a game thinking that he can't make a mistake because his defense isn't good enough to make up for it, the defense can't get a stop, get the ball back, the defense can't turn it into 3 points if he does it on his side of the field, if they can't stop that other team from scoring, man, you're going to have a hard day at the office. You're just going to have a hard day at the office because now everybody's playing on pins and needles. Everybody is walking on eggshells. You got to think about this. Not only is Dak Prescott thinking he can't make a mistake, even the defense is afraid that if he makes a mistake, they can't recover. These are the kinds of teams that Dak Prescott has been on. Now, I think Christian Parker is about to change that. He's teaching an entirely different culture. People don't understand, man. When your defense is great, your quarterback plays different. Your quarterback plays different. He doesn't play like he can't make mistakes. No, he plays like I'm not worried about making mistakes. Some folks might not realize that something, but those are 2 different feelings. It's a different type of swag when I say I can't make a mistake and I'm not worried about making a mistake because my defense got my back. And when Dak Prescott said, he told Quentin Williams, I'm going to get you to the playoffs, but I need you to help me win. You know what he was saying? We need this defense to step up. Jabril Quinn, I've been saying this. We keep asking Dak Prescott to do stuff that we didn't ask other quarterbacks to do. Yeah, he's got to elevate the team. Somebody please tell me when Troy Aikman elevated the team. When did Troy Aikman elevate the team? When? I want to know when. I want to know when. Which Super Bowl was it? When? Because even if you go back to the 1995 Super Bowl, somebody still needs to check O'Donnell's offshore accounts. O'Donnell threw 2 interceptions to Larry Brown that nobody can still figure out. Nobody can figure them out. It's like O'Donnell thought Larry Brown was his wide receiver. Did Troy Aikman make those 2 interceptions? Larry Brown was the MVP of the Super Bowl for 2 interceptions that O'Donnell threw right to him. Can anybody explain that? When did Troy Aikman, this is taking nothing away from Troy Aikman, when did he ever elevate the Dallas Cowboys? When? That ain't saying anything bad about Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman did what he was supposed to do. Play quarterback. Do what you're supposed to do. And not always mistake-free. I got news for us. Not always mistake-free. Not always mistake-free. Got to understand that stuff. MJ said, watch the first San Francisco game in 2022 last year. The offense couldn't do anything, stuffed on the run, and Dak got sacked 5 times in the 23 San Francisco game. He had a bad game, no lie. And I like what you said. You think about it, he was sacked 5 times. And those San Francisco 49er teams. MJ, I'm going to tell you something that people don't want to admit. I'm going to just tell you something, man. The one when I think we had them in Dallas, I think we were better matched. But when we went to San Francisco, it was almost like we were outmatched. Even though we had a chance to win that game. We had a chance to win that game too. But again, people don't understand, man. We never asked Troy Aikman to do what we're asking Dak Prescott to do. And I'm finally glad that Jerry Jones has finally given up this pipe dream of Dak Prescott's going to put this entire team on his shoulder and take us to the Super Bowl. Nah, man, it's not happening. Because that's actually not how it happens for anybody. Jalen Hurts, do we really believe that Jalen Hurts carried the Philadelphia Eagles? Do we really believe that Sam Darnold carried the Seattle Seahawks? You can go down the line of Super Bowls, and you got to tell me when the quarterback carried the team. Even in the Patrick Mahomes Super Bowls, people don't give some of the plays they made on defense credit. They don't give the defense credit. Chris Jones and those guys made some incredible plays to get the ball back for Patrick Mahomes. And people don't give that defense credit. I'll tell you another instance. One of those Super Bowls, the Kansas City Chiefs probably should have lost. If Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't make an overthrow in the end zone, we're probably having a whole different conversation. See, people don't put those things into account when there is a play that is not made by the other team. Sometimes a team just don't make a play. Sometimes there's a penalty. There's all kinds of things that happen. I have said this for years. I believe Dak Prescott on another team. I believe Dak Prescott on another team, they probably would have put a roster around Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott would probably already have a Super Bowl. And that's a knock on Jerry Jones. I really believe Dak Prescott could have won a Super Bowl on another team already. Dak Prescott is underappreciated. I absolutely believe this. Dak Prescott is underappreciated. We've seen quarterbacks who are not even as good as Dak Prescott win Super Bowls. Why? Because they're not putting the pressure on those quarterbacks that they're putting on Dak Prescott. I mean, Sam Darnold, case in point. Sam Darnold, case in point. Sam Darnold did not elevate the Seattle Seahawks. They had a great team. Bottom line, they just had a great team. Doesn't mean that Sam Darnold didn't play well. They had a great team. They simplified the game plan. They said, hey, man, our defense is good enough to beat the Patriots. We're going to simplify the game plan. Sam Darnold, we're going to simplify this. Just don't turn it over. And even if you do, we can still beat them. If you turn it over one time, we can still beat this team. Teams win Super Bowls. Dak Prescott is underappreciated. And there have been some great quarterbacks. I like some of the things y'all are saying in the chat. There are some great quarterbacks that have not won a Super Bowl. Fran Tarkenton, Dan Marino, Dan Fouts, Warren Moon. Oh, my gosh. I mean, you're talking about great quarterbacks who have not won the Super Bowl. It just happens that way. And when you think about, for as much as people have criticized Jerry Jones, it's amazing to me, Dominique Pittman. People, they want it both ways. Somebody's got to explain to me, Dominique Pittman, how do you criticize Jerry Jones but then say it's Dak Prescott's fault? Somebody's got to explain that to me. Because what are we criticizing Jerry Jones for if it's Dak Prescott's fault? What are we criticizing him for? Because I know what we're criticizing him for. Because for 30 years, he has not put together a team that could get back to the Super Bowl. And Tony Romo and Dak Prescott are the best two quarterbacks he's actually had since Troy Aikman. Almost put a team around Tony Romo, but some of those issues with Tony Romo. Dak Prescott took over the Tony Romo team in 2016, almost took that team to the Super Bowl. It took an incredible throw by Aaron Rodgers, an incredible catch, and an incredible field goal. People don't even give that enough credit. That Green Bay game, people don't realize if Dak Prescott, if that defense If that defense makes a stop on Aaron Rodgers in 2016, Dak Prescott's career is totally different. I believe it's totally different. It would have been one more playoff game. I believe the next game they played, they beat that team. I believe Dak Prescott goes to the Super Bowl in his rookie year. But you're going, can anybody really imagine this? Going up against Aaron Rodgers in your first playoff game? What? You're going up against Aaron bleeping Rodgers in your first playoff game. And Aaron Rodgers did what Aaron Rodgers does. Went and drew up a play in the dirt. They said it, when Mike McCarthy sent the play in, they said that Aaron Rodgers balled that play up and threw it in the trash and drew it up in the dirt. And it took one of the greatest plays, one of the greatest throws, one of the greatest catches to actually beat that 2016 team. It was 31-31. They had the momentum. I believe they're going to go down there and win that game. Dak Prescott's career is totally different if they win that game. Same thing if Tony Romo, if they give that catch to Dez Bryant, Cowboys take that lead, what happens? We don't know. There was still time on the clock, but nevertheless, they had a chance to win. Dominique said, I've been saying this for the last 5 years. Jerry hasn't put the right team around that. Dominique, this is where me and you agree. He's just now starting to do it. He said, I could go into the reason I think why. But it's pointless. He says, weird fans think Dak trash. You got it. Hey, Dominique, it's amazing to me how everybody wants it two ways. Jerry Jones hasn't done things right, but Dak Prescott, it's his fault. Which one is it? Did Jerry Jones do everything right and Dak Prescott failed? Or did Jerry Jones not do things right and that's the reason why Dak Prescott failed? Which one is it? I mean, which one is it? And two things cannot be true in this case. Because I just laugh when people say, yeah, man, there are teams that Jerry has put around Dak. Which one? Which one? Which one of them teams? They have not put a team around Dak Prescott. They have not put a team, but they're doing it now. This is why I'm giving Jerry credit now, because he's doing it now. This is why I'm not knocking Jerry anymore, because he's doing it now. So I want to see what it turns out to be. What are we going to do now? Anthony Jefferson, that was a turning point in the game. I believe if Pollard doesn't go down, and they said that Pollard was a huge part of the game plan in 2022, Anthony Jefferson. I truly believe if Pollard don't go down, I believe the Cowboys win that game. I have to agree with you. Robert Dudley said it starts at the top. Dominique Pittman said, me and G agree, come on with it. Hey, Dominique, what are people criticizing Jerry for? Because if Dak is the problem, then what are we criticizing Jerry Jones for? That means that actually Dak has squandered teams that Jerry Jones have put together. It hasn't been Jerry Jones' fault. We either owe Jerry Jones an apology or Dak is underappreciated, and I believe he's underappreciated. But I believe it's going to be Dak Prescott's time to get his flowers. These next 2 seasons are going to be critical for Dak Prescott. 1, Dak Prescott stays healthy. 2, they're putting a team around Dak Prescott. Christian Parker, a lot of people keep wondering about these all-in moves by the Dallas Cowboys. Christian Parker, all-in move. B.T. Jordan, all-in move. Quentin Williams, all-in move. Kenny Clark, all-in move. Caleb Downs, all-in move. You can go down the line. The Cowboys are making the moves. They didn't make some of the moves that we would, some of us wish they would have made. I know people wanted them to get Myles Garrett. There was no way anybody was beating the Rams on that deal. And I believe the Cowboys are not done with talent acquisition. They're not done with talent acquisition. But I'm giving Jerry credit now. That's what my argument is on Jerry. I'm giving him credit now because he's finally putting a team around him. And notice what Jerry did. This time he started with the coaches. Rather than trying to always just go get talent. Nah, bro, it don't matter what kind of talent you have. You don't go get players. And I don't think Dak Prescott is at a point yet. Everybody keeps saying, yeah, man, Dak has no more excuses. Excuses? What do you mean he has no more excuses? We got to see what two things. We can do two things. We can say we're going to the Super Bowl, but we got to see the team on the field too. Because on paper, we're saying it look like we're going, but we got to see it in action on the field. I'm not backing down on that prognostication, but at the same time, we got to see it on the field. We have got to see this team on the field and see where this defense is. And this is why Brian Schottenheimer is very anxious. Brian Schottenheimer sounds a lot different than he did last year. He's like, this ain't football. Now, he was saying some of that stuff last year, but he's like a lot more, this year he's like a lot more, he's emphasizing a lot harder. Hey, man, this ain't football. 7-on-7. Let's not draw any conclusions on this, even though he's saying, too, we're going to find our way in the Super Bowl. MJ said, yeah, they wasted Dax last year with a bottom 3 defense. Absolutely. And that was Jerry's fault. Jerry Prince, Matt Eberflus in here, didn't give him the players, traded Michael Parsons, at the midnight hour, and it was a disaster. And I think the disaster wasn't just Michael Parsons not being here. I think the disaster was Matt Eberflus. I think the disaster was Matt Eberflus. I absolutely do. Jeremy Best said Jerry stopped Jerry from building for a number of reasons, but he's doing it now. Dak's still making what he's making right. Get out people's pockets. Jerry been cooking. Yeah, he's doing his thing now. Dudley said he thought the same thing about Tony Pollard. I always thought Big Mike should have put Malik Davis in at running back. And Robert Dudley, I think he had something against Malik Davis. I think Mike McCarthy had something against Malik Davis. Number 2, he just didn't like to run the ball. Demetrius Noel said, the Seahawks were hoping that Jerry wouldn't re-sign Dak in 2024 because that's where Dak would have been today. Yep. I also heard that Pittsburgh was going to bid for him too. Yeah, Schefter said there was multiple teams that were ready to pay Dak the money if Jerry didn't pay him. Roland Rodriguez, what is going on from South Texas. But again, the rubber going to meet the road. It's all going to come together. Yeah. Everett said we got to see it on the field. That's real talk. Yeah. See, we can be excited about the Cowboys and still be in reality of saying we got to see it on the field because the reality is we haven't seen it on the field. On paper, it looks real good. We're going to see what it look like on the field. Yeah, we're going to see what it look like on the field. And when we see it on the field, and I'm not talking about us going against us. I want to see us in that. I want to see us against the Rams and the Saints in them scrimmages, man. That's what I want to see. I want to see it, man. Jeremy Benson, I'm tired of that narrative too, because last year he didn't have any excuses and led the league in passing statistics and really had an MVP year. So where's y'all all that saying then offense was prolific? Yeah. Last year is what made everybody change their mind. They realized, and Colin Cowherd finally conceded. He said, I've been wrong this whole time. He said it hasn't been Dak Prescott's fault. Yeah. Yeah, Ron Cooper, he said, these are the most prolific personnel moves I've seen this franchise do. If we don't get it done in the next 2 seasons, it might be a long time. Yes, that's why I keep saying we're going to hit the Super Bowl this year or next. This year or next, we will hit that Super Bowl. We will. JCT Slice, I agree. Dak has never truly had a great team. He's had some good teams, and I'm going to go even further. I think he's had some good players on some teams, but I don't think he's had great teams. And this is what Shotty is doing. Shotty, people don't realize that Shotty is building a team. That's what he's doing. He's building a team. Chef Pope, there's something going on over here, bro. He said second day in a row, you start speaking truth and things start. John Connor said, I hate Dallas, but they draft very well every year. They do. Hey, they did really good this year. Miss Metro said, make sure y'all hit that like button. All right. So let's switch gears. I know that Dak Prescott conversation is always a hot topic. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. What up, Blakey? Now I want to hit you with another hot topic of George Pickens. Here we go. I want to talk about George Pickens. I'm going to tell y'all something about George Pickens. George Pickens is about to do some incredible things this year. George Pickens is about to do some incredible things. And this team, I want y'all to understand something. This team is about to show George Pickens how much they appreciate him. I just don't think some people understand how much this team appreciates George Pickens. And they're not appreciating George Pickens, the football player, as in his talent. I keep telling everyone, when we talk about George Pickens, his talent isn't the question. But this team is about to they are about to lift George Pickens up in ways that is unimaginable. Because George Pickens just saved this franchise trauma, grief, and peace. I'm not telling you he saved this franchise, but he saved them from the same old rigmarole. Contract issue, disgruntled player, holding out, not signing the contract, doing bad things in the media, in the court of public opinion, cryptic text, George Pickens has done none of that. And I don't think people understand how much this team appreciates it. You could tell the way Dak Prescott was talking yesterday. He appreciates it. Brian Schottenheimer appreciates it. I am not going to be surprised that when the Cowboys come back in training camp, George Pickens, I will not be surprised if George Pickens is on the leadership council. And I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to be shocked if George Pickens don't have a C on his chest. I am going to be shocked if this man don't have a C on his chest. This team is about to show George Pickens how much they appreciate him. Jerry Jones is in a headlock right now. And I don't even think we realize it. Jerry Jones is in a headlock. Brian Schottenheimer is playing chess, not checkers. Now, I don't think we see what Brian is doing, but I think I see what Brian Schottenheimer is doing. This is chess, not checkers. Brian Schottenheimer is making this team love George Pickens on a level that they are going to be screaming to the ownership, you better not let George Pickens go. You better not let George Pickens go. And what I'm telling you is this is not about one player. This is bigger than this. And I want y'all to understand what I'm telling you that Brian Schottenheimer is doing. This is chess, not checkers. Brian Schottenheimer has built a family. And he's not making this about one player. Brian Schottenheimer is making this about the family. And that George Pickens is a part of this family. And they don't want to see this part of the family leave. Brian Schottenheimer is showing Jerry Jones something. I want you to look at the culture that I built. That George Pickens showed up and showed out. I don't think y'all understand what I'm telling you. Brian Schottenheimer is playing chess, not checkers. This man ain't playing. This man is building a family. Jerry Jones is not going to be able to deny it. He's not going to be able to deny it. This is going beyond a player. We are watching a team be galvanized. They are being galvanized by Brian Schottenheimer being able to create a culture. Do y'all realize that George Pickens told us this? George Pickens told us this out of his own mouth. He said it's hard to hold out on this team when you go to Dak Prescott's house, when you're hanging with CeeDee Lamb. Brian Schottenheimer has built a culture. And this is the type of stuff that wins championships. You watch what I tell you. This team is rallying around George Pickens. And they're telling this ownership, he's a part of the family now. And we want George Pickens. I don't think people realize how smart Brian Schottenheimer is, man. I've been saying this now for about 6 months. I told y'all, I said Brian Schottenheimer is a shrewd operator. He is a psychological demon. This man worked his way into the Cowboys organization through a consultant role, worked himself through the organization, and was just talking to people and talking to the Joneses and talking to the team and just talking and talking and talking until he worked himself up to Steve and finally said, hey, you know what? Why not let Brian be the coach? why not let Brian be the coach? Because I like some of the things that he's saying. Brian Schottenheimer has created a family, y'all. And they are screaming to this ownership, George better not go nowhere. I'm telling you now, they're screaming this to this ownership by the way they're embracing him. And I am telling y'all, I believe this is Schotty's plan. Y'all remember what I told y'all? An old lady told me, you can get more bees with honey than vinegar. And I still say, I don't know who tried to go get bees with vinegar. But I understand what she's saying. Brian understands something. And he's been doing this for the last year. And here he is again. Rather than Brian Schottenheimer trying to go out in the court of public opinion and try to take little subliminal shots at Jerry Jones, the way Mike McCarthy used to do, the way we've seen others do. No. Schotty keeps building the team so that the team is going to lean on Jerry Jones in this front office in ways that they've never really leaned on them. No, they're about to lean on them. I don't care if it's this season or the next. I'm just telling you, I don't believe George Pickens is going anywhere. I don't believe he's going anywhere. And I believe that George Pickens, because of the way that he's handled this, don't misunderstand this, under the guidance of Schotty, Dak, CD, the way that George is handling this, flawless. Flawless. And I just keep laughing at people who keep trying to make up excuses talking about, yeah, man, George conceded. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. See, some people don't understand psychological warfare. The Bible tells us that when someone disrespects us, rather than us meeting them with the same energy, no, you meet them with a different kind of energy. You pour hot coals on their head. How? By treating them right, by doing the right thing, by saying the right thing, that no matter what they say about you, you just keep pouring hot coals on their head. And the purpose of pouring hot coals on their head is not to prove to them anything. Watch this part, but to change their minds. That's what your goal is. Your goal isn't to prove anything. Your goal is to change their mind. That's what your goal is. Because if you try to prove, then you'll start doing things that look fake. But when you have changed, then you do who you are. And then the people who look at you, it becomes undeniable. I don't think some people understand psychological warfare. And this is why all these folk who are always popping off at the mouth and always trying to get somebody to be mad and talking about somebody done conceded. I don't think George has conceded. No. With what George Pickens is doing, that means to me, no, he's dug in. No, he's dug in. Some folks look at things so stupid and twisted. Yeah, he conceded. He's not conceded. If George would have conceded, he never would have showed up. That's concession. That's concession. That's what a fool does. A fool don't show up. But somebody who is wise, no. Man, I am telling you the Bible is right. I'm not trying to preach a sermon to you, but I'm telling you the truth. Our weapons are not carnal. And when I hear people talk about George Pickens, I'm like, these are carnal people. Yeah, man, George is this and George conceded and this is why George conceded and conceded? You call this conceding? I'll defeat you every single time. I'll defeat you every single time because your weapons are carnal. Mine's are spiritual. I will defeat you every single time. Because I'll get everybody to go along with me. And you'll be over there looking stupid making your same comments. George Pickens is, this is all psychological. This is all psychological what we are watching, and it is carefully orchestrated by everybody involved on the side of George Pickens. It is carefully orchestrated. And I am telling us, it's going to be a rally cry for George Pickens. I'm just telling y'all, man, it's going to be a rally cry. It will be a rally cry for this man. Because I'm telling y'all right now, everybody is kind of looking at this like, he going to be here. I don't think there's anybody looking at this inside of that organization like George Pickens isn't going to be here. No. They're all looking at this as he's going to be here. He's going to be here. Jabril, true change comes from within. People don't understand that, man. People don't understand that. And as I'm watching George Pickens, man, I'm telling you, I was telling my wife about this today, man. I was talking to my wife about this. And I'm going to tell you something. Just talking about, just watching what George Pickens has been doing. I don't know if y'all remember, but when Dak Prescott, before he signed this last contract, I can remember an interview with Jerry Jones. And Dak Prescott brought Jerry Jones to tears. Because they had brought in Trey Lance and they were prancing Trey Lance all through the facility and trying to make, and Trey Lance this and Trey Lance that. And they were just marching them all up and down through the facility. Just totally disrespecting Dak Prescott like Trey Lance was going to come in here and take Dak Prescott's spot. And you know what Dak Prescott did? Showed up to practice. Showed up to practice every single day. Not only did he show up to practice, Dak Prescott was Trey Lance's biggest fan. Dak Prescott took Trey Lance under his arm. Dak Prescott took him on the retreat. Dak Prescott, while everybody was saying Trey Lance was taking Dak Prescott's spot, Dak Prescott didn't even blink. And when they interviewed Jerry Jones almost broke down. He said, because with everything that he's dealing with and going on, guess what? He showed up. That's what a leader is. Almost broke Jerry Jones down. And I was telling my wife about that this morning, or about George Pickens this morning. I was like, because when I saw George Pickens in that press conference, as much as I said that I thought George Pickens had changed, it was when I saw him in that press conference. Man, I am telling y'all, I don't know about y'all, man. Maybe I'm just soft. But George Pickens, man, that situation almost got me. I almost broke down on this George Pickens situation. Because when you watch a person change, I don't think people understand that. When you watch a person change, man, it is beautiful. And to watch George Pickens handle this the way that he did, man, it just gets to you in a way you're just like, man. It just hits you. You just say, man, it was that moment I'm like, I wish Jerry Jones would have signed him the next day. I wish he would have signed him the next day, because I just don't think people understand what it took for George Pickens to do what he did. I don't think people are giving this man enough credit for what he did. And as a father who got 4 sons, and to watch a young man do what he did, boy, it almost got me, man. It's almost about to get me now. Y'all forgive me. It almost got me, man. Whew. Boy, it almost got me. It's almost getting me now. Yeah, I'm telling you, real estate, bro, man, I'm sorry. Bro, it's getting me now, man. I just don't think people understand that stuff, man. When you watch a man do something like that and sit up there and just take all those questions, you know those questions are hurting him. You know he's not happy with the fact that he hasn't got the contract, but you can tell also he understands. People say, oh, he's conceited. He's not conceited. If he had conceded, he'd have said no questions. No questions. I'm not talking to anybody. If he would have conceded, he would have sat up there and said, it's a bunch of bull junk that they got me in this situation. It's not what he did. Like a man. And then folk got the unmitigated gall to say this man conceded. You don't know what concession looks like. To stand up there in the belly of the beast? Shoot. Man, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know. Somebody can say it's an act if they want to. I'm sold. I'm sold on George Pickens. I've seen enough. I'm sold. I'm sold on George Pickens. After that, I'm like, nah, bruh. I'm sold, man. I'm sold. I saw pain in that young man's eyes. I heard pain in that young man's voice. But I also saw strength in his eyes, and I heard strength in his voice. Boy, I'm going to tell you, I just don't think people understand, man, what it took for that young man to stand up there and do that. He could have ran, but he didn't. He didn't run. Shoot, man. Woo. Hey, man, I'm just telling y'all, bro. He almost got me, man. He almost got me. I was telling my wife about this morning. I had to tell her. I said, man, he almost got me. Your boy almost broke down in tears, man. I'm telling you, boy. Man, I almost broke down in tears, man. Ooh-wee. I almost broke down in tears. I'm just telling you, man. Shoo. Whew. Man. I'm sold, man. I'm sold. Jeremy Best said people don't understand how unselfish GP is. I mean, shows the maturity and focus of George Pickens and togetherness of love this team, of the love of this team, close enough to overlook your own trouble for the team concept. Whoo-wee. Man, let me show y'all something. Boy, man, let me show y'all something, bro. King Gresh, bro, I'm sorry. I'm not going to disagree with you that he's trying to get paid. I'm not going to disagree with you on that part. But I'm not going to give you that is the only reason why he's doing what he's doing, King Grish. I can't do it. I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think David Mulugeta told him this because David Mulugeta's never told anybody else this. I'm going to disagree with you on that, on King Grish. No, I don't believe David Mulugeta told him to do that. Because everybody was saying that no client for David Mulugeta plays under the tag. I don't agree with that. Let me show y'all a picture. Tell me anything you want to. I'm not buying stuff like this is fake. I'm not buying it. You can't fake this, man. You cannot fake this. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. And I'm going to tell you something about getting paid in this game. Getting paid comes along with this game. When you got George Pickens' talent, getting paid comes along with this game. Whether it's sooner or later, you're going to get paid. I'm telling you, man, when I saw this today, you tell me anything you want to. I just don't think this is fake. I don't think this is fake. I don't think this is fake. I don't think you can fake this kind of stuff. I don't know. I mean, maybe you can. Maybe you can. I just don't think you can fake this kind of stuff. I don't. George Pickens could have made a huge statement by not signing that tag. He could have waited until the day before the season started and signed that tag. I'm not buying this. He did it to get paid. I'm not buying that. George Pickens loves this team. I believe it. I believe it. Eric Folks said GP wants to be a part of a winning team. I believe it. Ron Cooper said, he said that's true, but that's how you handle business and get life done and be like the tree planted by the rivers of the water and flourish. Yeah, man. Sometimes people don't understand semantics and how you say things. It's one thing to say that George Pickens is showing that he changed to get paid, and that George Pickens has changed to help him get paid. Those are two different things. Because the change is real. Showing change isn't change, but change is real. And I believe the two things can be true. Yeah, does he understand? And I think it's bigger than the money. I think George, and I go back to what he told those children. Man, if you are going to succeed in this life, I told y'all the other day, relationships are important. They're important. Some people think they can pop off and say whatever they want to say and offend who they want to offend. But those who are wise, they understand that's not how life is if you truly want to succeed. You got to give respect in this life if you truly want to get and reach the places that you want to reach. You got to give respect, show respect, be respectful. And there is a wrong way and a right way to do things. And if somebody is doing something the right way, hey, man, I'm not worried about the residuals, bro, because all that comes along with doing the right thing. I just don't think you can fake stuff like this. I don't think you can fake stuff like this. It just looks too genuine. I don't think you can fake stuff like this. I'm going to tell you something, Caitlin. I am holding out hope they're going to pay him this year. I'm holding out hope. I really am. I don't know if they are, but I'm holding out hope. But I do believe they're going to pay him next year. Now, let's get on to the player side of this. I want you to see what Torrey Holt had to say about George Pickens.
For 2020.
I want you to hear what Torrey Holt had to say about George Pickens. Let's get beyond all the crying and let's get down to some brass taxes. This is what Torrey Holt said about George Pickens. Check this out.
Is anybody sticking out to you as far as 2026 at receiver?
Yeah, I believe George Pickens is probably the most athletic out of all these guys on this list. George Pickens, and I said this to you last year, Kay.
Yeah.
As he continues to mature and clean himself up and really dial in on what it takes to be a wide receiver in the National Football League and show consistency, production, he has it all. He can run, he can jump, he can catch, run after the catch, he can block, he can do everything on the football field.
Yeah.
When he locks himself into his job and his job only. That's my only thing with Pickens. Will he lock himself in for a total of 16, 17 games, and we can really see how good this guy is? I believe his athletic ability, his talent is bar none. Now we just have to see him put it all together, being a pro wide receiver in the National Football League. And if he does that, his numbers will be astronomical.
What? I agree. Man, Tor Hill, I mean, I told y'all this the other day. I would take George Pickens over Jackson Smith and Jigba every day of the week. Every single day of the week, I would take George Pickens over Jackson Smith and Jigba. When you look at the top 5 wide receivers in football right now, the top 5 wide receivers in football right now, Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jackson Smith and Jigba, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown. But the top 5 is Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens. Those are the top 5 wide receivers in the game right now. Those are the top 5 wide receivers in the game. And all of them possess something unique about themselves. They all possess something unique. But I'm going to tell you something about this dude, George Pickens. I don't think they've scratched the surface on what George Pickens is. I don't think they've scratched the surface on what George Pickens is. He's an underrated route runner. He's got underrated speed. George Pickens, if Brian Schottenheimer truly turns George Pickens loose, him and CeeDee Lamb are going to be unstoppable. There will be nobody in this league that will be able to stop Dak Prescott in this offense. If Brian Schottenheimer truly does what he says, moving him around, putting him in motion, there's nothing. There is no team that can stop George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb if he truly turns George Pickens loose. There's no team that can stop him. Can't hold him. There'll be no defense that can hold him. There's no way. George Pickens is the total package as far as what you want talent-wise, athletic-wise. George Pickens is the whole package from that perspective. Now, what I think he's got to get, as he's saying locked in, CeeDee Lamb is probably still on another level mentally. And that's what George Pickens has got to get next. And that's where we're watching George Pickens evolve to. Because CeeDee Lamb is in a different place mentally, if that makes sense to you. But these are the top 5 wide receivers in the game. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I don't know if anybody's ever seen Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm not taking anything away from him because he's uber talented. He's just not more talented than George Pickens. He's just not more talented than George Pickens. He's just not. He's not more talented than CeeDee Lamb. He may be getting paid more than them, but after taxes, he's probably not. I mean, CeeDee Lamb is probably making more money than him after taxes. But I am telling y'all, man, this dude, George Pickens, I don't think people understand. This dude is a freaking alien, man. This dude is an alien. Cowboys would be crazy to let this dude walk. Frank Lawrence said, Dallas signed Trigg. Man, I can't wait. $3.1 million contract for 3 years. We're moving differently under the new leadership. Yeah. Everett. Holt said the truth. And there's a lot of people that talk about George Pickens like this. Veron Cooper, he said, what good is a tree sprouting apples and oranges in the middle of the winter? It's out of season. GP is in his proper season in Dallas. Yeah. Gary Bookwalter, he said facts. Timmy said, yeah, G, it got me. I felt the same way, man. Shoot. Man, he almost broke me down, bro. Hey, DeVar's Worley. Brian said it. Moving Pickens around. Hey, I'm telling you, CeeDee Lamb and George are going to be unstoppable. And once they mix in Trigg, shoot. They talking about School Mocker yesterday. Man, y'all heard Dak Prescott's response about School Mocker. Shoot. Ain't happening, bruh. Trigg is in town now. You waited a little too late to try to turn it up. Tracy said, I think the Detroit game last year is the reason why GP3 hasn't got a new contract. Well, don't forget the Minnesota game. But again, Tracy, you got to think about what happened. And this is why people don't realize why George was so upset, is because Brian Schottenheimer saw what they were doing. George is a very smart wide receiver. He knows the game. He knew they were playing underneath and over the top. And Brian Schottenheimer kept running that same old route, kept running them same old raggedy slant routes. No, man, they jumped him. They jumped him. They knew what they were doing. And that's why Brian Schottenheimer made fun of himself, because last year, many of us were saying, why not run sluggos? I mean, teams were biting on those slants so hard, man. You just should have ran sluggos, and George probably could have got another couple of touchdowns. Absolutely. JCT Slicey said there are literally people who said Dak has to win by himself. I know, they say it all the time. Let me see. Mose Logan said he'll take Pickens over CD. Sentence fan said George Pickens could get you 2,500 yards if given the chance. He's a monster. And him and CD together are going to be unstoppable. They're just going to be unstoppable. Timmy said GP loves the Cowboys. He finally has a true football family in Dallas. That part. Eric Folks, this is what we're wanting from Brian Schottenheimer. We need to play calling to evolve. I agree with you. We need to play calling to evolve. Mose Logan, GP is highly motivated. Yes, sir. Man, let's hear that one more time before we go on to the next segment.
To you as far as 2026 at receiver?
Yeah, I believe George Pickens is probably the most athletic out of all these guys.
Now look at this list. When you say George Pickens jumps off the page, that's incredible. Yeah, George Pickens jumps off the page.
George Pickens, and I said this to you last year, Kay.
Yeah.
As he continues to mature and clean himself up and really dial in on what it takes to be a wide receiver in the National Football League and show consistency, production, he has it all. He can run, he can jump, he can catch, run after the catch, he can block. He can do everything on the football field when he locks himself into his job and his job only. That's my only thing with Pickens. Will he lock himself in for a total of 16, 17 games, and we can really see how good this guy is? I believe his athletic ability, his talent is bar none. Now we just have to see him put it all together, being a pro wide receiver in the National Football League. And if he does that, his numbers will be astronomical.
What's going on, Q-Town, dude? I didn't know you were from the 903. That's where I'm from. Yeah, I didn't know you were from the 903. See, I'm going to tell you something, man, if it was me. And I said this last year
out to you as far as 20
as people were talking about contracts. But if I was George Pickens, I would play for the Dallas Cowboys for $30 million a year. I wouldn't even ask for 40. I'd play for 30. But I'd have a stipulation. I want $90 million guaranteed. I want $90 guaranteed million. That would be me. I want $90 million guaranteed. You can do whatever you want to do with that front end number. The fully guaranteed numbers are the only thing you're worried about. The fully guaranteed money, you're not worried about anything else. Only the fully guaranteed money. A lot of people are worried about that front number. I don't care about that front number. I want to know what that final number is. What am I going to get paid come hell or high water? And if I was him, I'd pay for 90 million guaranteed. That's more than CeeDee Lamb guaranteed. That's more than pretty much all of those wide receivers, especially when you look at the trick they got built into them. Some of those contracts like Jackson Smith and Jigba, they actually got the 5th-year option included in that contract, which actually makes it look larger than it is. They were already going to pay him the 5th-year option. You had a couple more, 3 more years onto it, and then you give him 64, 65 million for that, and then that's how you come up with those numbers. But in the grand scheme of things, it was me. Nah, fully guaranteed money, bro. I would actually, 90 million guaranteed. You can flip it however you want to. I don't care as long as I get my money. I don't need all them inflated front end numbers. I don't care about that stuff. All right, let me slip a segment in real quick. I may have to do Cowboys After Dark tonight. And hold on a second. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna put that segment in. I got another segment. I got something else, but I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday. We'll need some stuff to talk about. So I got a segment that I'm going to keep under wraps. I'm not even going to mention it. But I got another segment on Pickens that I think y'all are going to find to be interesting. But I want to show you something else, because we look at the situation with George Pickens, and you'll let people, if you're not careful, you'll let people tell you that Jerry Jones is the devil and the Dallas Cowboys are the only people that do this type of stuff and blah, blah, blah. Well, I found something very interesting. And I think y'all will find it interesting too. There's actually another player out there going through the same thing that George Pickens is going through.
Yes! Here we go!
There is actually another player out there, and he is going through similar to what George Pickens is going through. And I don't know if y'all seen this story. Oh, yeah, I see you. Oh, Quinlan. Yeah, you know what? My friends live out there in Quinlan. Do you know Daryl and Susan, Kevin and Susan, Kevin Shin, Susan Shin, Daryl Spears and Susan Spears? Yeah, that's my family out there, Q-Town, dude. Quinlan Church of Christ, let me know if you know him. All right, let's see here. CD is going to ride easy behind Pickens. He better make catches when he can. The Pickens train is coming. Oh, CD going to eat. CD going to eat. I guarantee you, he's going to eat. CD Lamb going to eat. All right, Michael Lees, I got something I want you to think about. Tell me what you think. All right, so there's another player that is going through something similar that George Pickens is going through. Let me see here. All right, forgive me. This is in my notes. There's certain things I haven't been able to get to, so I can't, some of these things in my notes, I'm kind of like, can't find everything in here. I got so much in here. You'd be shocked at how much I got in here. All right, hold on. Let me see here. But there is another player in this league that is going through the same thing. Let me see if I can pull it up because I can't find it in my notes, but I know it's in there. I got so much over there. Jalen Carter is going through the same thing that Pickens is going through. Jalen Carter is going through the same thing that Pickens is going through. The Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know if y'all saw this story, but the Philadelphia Eagles are hesitant to pay Jalen Carter right now. They've been reporting stuff like this. I don't know if y'all have seen it. Says, the Eagles have been hesitant to pay superstar defensive tackle Jalen Carter, who is due for an extension. Trade rumors have already begun. Why do y'all think they are hesitant to pay Jalen Carter? Why do you think they're hesitant to pay him? Why do you think they're hesitant to pay Jalen Carter? I mean, he's an incredible player. I'm sure there are some teams that would trade for him, and there's probably some teams that wouldn't trade for him. But Jalen Carter, he's going through something similar. And the Eagles, here it is. The Eagles are hesitant to pay star defensive tackle Jalen Carter, who's under contract for the next 2 seasons with his 2027 fifth-year option included. The answer is yes, they are hesitant to pay him. Philadelphia is telling you what you need to know with its actions. Yeah, Tony Hubbard. See, people think the Cowboys are the one doing this stuff. They've already paid, if I'm not mistaken, they've already paid someone before him, if not 2 people before him. People are like, Jalen Carter should already be paid. Look at this. Eagles Times. The Eagles are being cautious on Jalen Carter extension per Albert Breer. Carter's reportedly seeking a market resetting deal, but Philly is expected to seek protections after a season limited by shoulder issues and an ejection. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. But they've already paid one player before him on that defensive line that everybody thought he would have been the one that would have been paid first. So, it's not just the Dallas Cowboys who do stuff like this. So we'll see what Jalen Carter does. They want to see some more from Jalen Carter. Yeah. Hey, Q-Town dude. Could it be his attitude, Spitgate? Yeah. Yeah. Tracy said he don't think a player who has one great season should get a $100 million contract. Don't worry, he's going to have 2. George is going to have 2. Yeah, George is going to have 2. And you think about this. This guy here, he's saying some of the same things about Jalen Carter that we kind of heard about George somewhat. Look at this. See if we can put the volume on this.
Waiting to pay Carter, though. According to NFL insider Albert Breer, the Eagles right now are hesitant to pay Jalen Carter. I've got some thoughts on this. It is pretty notable that Carter is coming off bilateral shoulder injuries. The Eagles might not want to pay him right now because they want to see how he responds coming off an injury-plagued year. Speaking of last year, in 2025, I thought Jalen Carter played good. At times he was dominant, but he was not great. There are also some character concerns with Jalen Carter. He spit on Dak Prescott. Wasn't a good look to open up the season in front of the world. He's also got some character stuff and baggage going back to Georgia. And I think this is notable that the Eagles haven't paid Jalen Carter yet because they have paid a lot of their homegrown players early. Why the hesitation with Jalen Carter right now? That's something to think about. Waiting to pay Carter, though, is also understandable if you're Philadelphia because he's got the previous history. He's coming off an injury-plagued season. His new contract is projected to be $30+ million per year. The Eagles want to make sure, if they make that investment in Carter, that he's right, that he's healthy, and that investment is going to be safe. And look, I think you need some psychos along the defensive line. Jalen Carter's got some screws loose. As Deion Sanders once said, you want quarterbacks from a household where that quarterback grew up with a mom and dad. On that defensive line, as Deion Sanders said, you want some psycho defensive linemen who come from single mama households because you got to be a little bit crazy to play that position. So I'm fine with paying Jalen Carter. You need some dogs up front. He is certainly that. What's also of note is that the Eagles have told us with their actions, they really value Jalen Carter. They haven't included him in some of these blockbuster deals for Micah Parsons, for Max Crosby in the past, for Myles Garrett.
If I'm not mistaken, the Rams might have wanted, I think they wanted Jalen Carter.
So clearly they really like and value a player who by himself, by his lonesome, is one of the rare players in the NFL who can take over games by himself.
Yeah.
According to NFL insider Albert Breer.
And I think what you're kind of watching in the grand scheme of things, I think you're kind of watching teams when they got players like this. They do want to keep them, but they also want to like, okay, can you kind of, calm it down a little bit? And I think that's kind of what they're saying. And I think he's going to get, I think Jalen Carter is going to remain in Philly, just like I believe George Pickens is going to stay over here in Dallas. Yeah. Bob Worley said they got to pay for his shoulder first. Philly wrong for that. Hey, man, we're seeing this with a couple of these players this year. We're seeing it with Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua is already supposed to be paid in the grand scheme of things, but Puka Nacua isn't paid yet either. Puka Nacua is going to get paid at some point, but they got some issues with him too. And so I'm just kind of pointing out, people think this is just isolated to the Cowboys. This isn't isolated to the Cowboys. It isn't isolated to the Cowboys. It's just not. You get these superstar players and, teams start getting a little antsy, especially when they've already signed other players. And you think about the Cowboys, they got some homegrown players. They signed some of these homegrown players, signed Ty Smith, signed Stacey Adams. I'm sorry, what's his name? our quarterback name. They've already signed Jake Ferguson. They signed Stacey Adams, Deron Bland. So, they signed some homegrown talent. And, when you get some of this stuff going on, they all kind of do this. Like, okay, we got some issues. We want to make sure that it's right. I don't think it's as unusual as we think. But I love the way George Pickens is doing it. George Pickens is doing it better than anybody. He's absolutely doing it better than anybody. He's absolutely doing it better than anybody. All right, I want to take us to these Dallas Cowboys signings real quick. Let me see. Michael Lee said, G, a couple of days ago, you was on Jerry and Jimmy. Well, Jerry was in his feelings about knowing football. Yeah. So it took Jerry 30 years to get over that bad seed that was planted. Now the team moving different. And Michael Lee, I talked about this. And if you pay attention, Brian Schottenheimer is already cutting that thought process off at the pass. He gives Jerry Jones credit every chance he gets. Yep, Dominique Pittman, that's his name, Jordan Davis. Yeah, he got paid before Carter. And I'm telling you right now, I can guarantee you Carter feeling some type of way, bruh. He feeling some type of way. 70s fans show us Philly looking at his actions on the field and his attitude. Yeah. They looking at some of his stuff, some of the behavior stuff. They're looking at some of the behavior stuff with him. All right, let's look at some of these Cowboys signings. And I'm not like last year, the last few years when the Cowboys have signed these UFL players.
Here we go.
The last few years when the Cowboys have signed these UFL players, I've been kind of excited because they it's like they keep hitting the lottery. They hit the lottery with Brandon Aubrey, hit the lottery with Kevontae Turpin. But then with Perion Winfrey, I thought they'd hit the lottery again. 3 signings. And let's check out these 3 signings the Cowboys have had. Now, Denzel Mims may be somewhat interesting. It says here the Cowboys have agreed to terms with 3 UFL players. Denzel Mims, wide receiver. Amir Speed, cornerback. And offensive line, Chris Glazer. Now, in order for the Cowboys to do this, they also had to cut some people. To make room, they put Matt Hennessy on injured reserve. He's having neck surgery. We all know about him. They cut defensive back Corey Ballantyne, and they cut wide receiver Romello Brinson, which I believe a lot of people were excited about Romello Brinson. They've been released. 1 roster spot remains open as training camp awaits. And I wouldn't be surprised. Well, actually, now we know the Cowboys were probably saving that spot for this player that he was the final signing. And the player that everybody is excited about is Charles Snowden. Everybody's excited about Charles Snowden. Charles Snowden appeared in 34 games, made 18 starts over the last 2 seasons in Las Vegas, 4.5 sacks and 8 tackles for loss. I'm going to do a video about this guy, Charles Snowden, here very soon. And I believe the reason why, Cowboys fans, hey guys, I think we can be a little bit excited for Chris Snowden. Let me tell you why. This team is telling you they are putting all of their eggs in the basket of coaching. They're putting all of their eggs in the basket of coaching. And we are watching them now bring in players to where they're saying that we're going to bring in some players that we believe our coaches can help. In particular, a lot of people, we keep saying, Christian Parker, yes, I think he's a great hire. He's the, people keep saying he's the best hire that we've hired. But I'm going to tell you something else. I've told y'all this before, and I'm going to tell you again. B.T. Jordan. Do not underestimate the B.T. Jordan hire. The B.T. Jordan hire was incredible. To get B.T. Jordan from the Denver Broncos, 60-plus sacks over the last 2 seasons. 68 and 63. I think it was 68 in 2024, 63 in 2025. And they were a phantom Bo Nix bone break in the foot away from beating the Patriots, I believe, and going to the Super Bowl. I mean, somebody still got to explain that bone break in the foot to me. Still have to explain that bone break in the foot. But nevertheless, the Dallas Cowboys on this go-round, they are telling us that coaching is everything this year. And this guy, Chris Snowden, I'm sorry, what's his name? Make sure, forgive me if I don't got his name down just yet. This guy, Charles Snowden, I'm sorry. This guy, Charles Snowden. I'm going to tell you why why Dallas Cowboy fans should be excited about Charles Snowden. Let me show you something here. I was looking at some stuff on him today. They are telling us, Dallas Cowboy fans, coaching matters. This is what they're telling us.
Let's see if the
Now, Charles Snowden is more of a second chance player. Let's see if we can pull up a few things on him. We'll see if we can kind of get this, in and not get copyright struck. All right. Let's turn off the sound on this video. I'm gonna give you a few Charles Snowden highlights if you hadn't seen them. This is Charles Snowden. We're gonna try to get it, just see if we can just get it in clips. This is Charles Snowden. This was an interception by Shedeur Sanders. Oh, he was right there. Now, I'm going to show you why this guy probably fits what Christian Parker is doing. In case a lot of us haven't realized it, Christian Parker is building a very fast defense, if you ask me. He's got his size down in the trenches, but around the trenches, he's got a lot of speed guys. Guys who can make plays, hybrid guys who can play the run, guys who can pursue, guys who can rush the quarterback, guys who can get to the quarterback, and guys who can play in the pass game. This is what you're looking at with Charles Snowden. And I think he fits this Christian Parker system perfectly. He's long, lean, and fast. This is him on the outside. I think he's going to play well in this system. He's got a motor. I think he's going to play well in the system. I think he's going to play well for the Cowboys. I do. I think he's going to fit in the system. This is all about coaching. They're looking at this guy and saying, we think we can make him into something. This right here may be the Jadeveon Clowney of the team this year. I got a feeling this guy's going to make the team. We'll see how it goes in training camp. I got a feeling he's going to make the team. Yeah, he is the Jadeveon Clowney of the squad. He'll be a rotational guy. See, the reason why I think he fits this system is that he can play in space. If you haven't noticed, he fits the system. He can do both. He can rush the passer. He can rush the passer. He can play the run. He can do three things. He can rush the passer, play the run, and he can play in the passing game. Long and lean. Set the edge. Yeah. I think he's going to make the team, guys. Yeah. What's up, Gerald Jackson? I think this is a systems pickup. This is one of these things with the Cowboys. They're going to try to be the smartest people in the room. Get this guy low cost, bring him in, see what he does. And then, of course, still keeping their eye on the rest of the league, too. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Frank Lawrence. That's why I just said it. I said I think he is the Jadeveon Clowney of this year. He's going to replace Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, he fits the system. If you look at what they're building, he fits the system. See, that's what's impressive right there. You see his closing speed? He was playing in the passing game, got outside when the quarterback got outside the pocket. Man, he came up and got him. Man, hey, this guy I think he's gonna be able to play in the system, man. Keeps his eyes in the backfield, kept his eyes on the quarterback. I think he tipped the ball right here. Yeah, I think he definitely fits the system. No doubt about it. Wait a minute, this is us. What the? Who is that? Come on, Ferg. Yeah, I think he's gonna be the Clowney of this season. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think he's definitely going to be. I think he's going to be here. I do. Yeah, I think he's going to be here. All right, let's see. Like I said, I got some things that are not on the list today, but that was the signing of Charles Snowden. So we'll see what this looks like when we get to Oxnard, California. We'll see what he does. And I don't know if y'all been hearing this, but I'm hoping the Dallas Cowboys don't try to touch this Brandon Sorsby issue. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it today. But I got problems when the Cowboys start talking about character issues with George Pickens, and then somebody tries to sneak in and tell me that the Dallas Cowboys should be looking at Brandon Sorsby. There is no way that if we're saying what we're saying about George Pickens or what people have said, there is no way you bring in Sorsby. The Cowboys should no how be looking at Sorsby. Sorsby is a problem. And I'm going to let you hear Damian Woody. I think Damian Woody really broke this thing down because I find it to be strange. I find it to be strange of how people are blowing over this Sorsby thing, and everybody seems to be excited about him being in the supplemental draft and talking about the Cowboys should give up a third round pick. Man, I ain't giving up no picks for Brandon Sorsby. I'm not giving up any picks for Brandon Sorsby. Brandon Sorsby broke a serious rule. You do not want this mess on your team. And then you look down the road and you got egg on your face about this money. I'm sorry, about this money. About this dude, Brandon Sorsby. No way. No way. I'm not sure why the Raiders let him go, Jabril. Doesn't sound like anything serious. Yeah, Frank Lawrence. Yeah, Snowden, another great acquisition. More evidence that the leadership is moving differently. I think he'll be a good pickup. Cowboys of the Dog, we'll see. If we do, it'll probably be around 11:30. Yes, them boys said Snowden signed a 2-year deal, so he's basically a lock. Yeah, I think he's definitely here to stay. He is the Jadeveon Clowney. And so I want you to hear Damon Woody break this thing down about Sorsby. Damian Woody is about to break this thing down about Sorsby. And I believe every single team should feel like this. Check this out. What's up, Newhouse fam? Look at this.
We know in the NFL locker room, 53-man roster, everyone's not going to be a good guy. You're going to have some junkyard dogs in your locker room, some guys that you have to manage. But every football player out there knows that betting on games, betting on your own game is a cardinal sin. For me, if I'm
no team that is serious about winning should be looking at Brandon Sorsby. No team. And it is crazy to me that there are people out there advocating for Brandon Sorsby to come to the Cowboys. We're having a quiet and boring offseason. What do you think happens if the Cowboys bring in Brandon Sorsby? No way, no how. It is the worst character trait. You bet on your own team? Nah, bruh. Nah, you can't play for me. You can't play for me. You can't. Yeah, Demetrius Noel said, gee, there is absolutely no way the Cowboys can entertain this trouble player and complain about GP. And they're talking about the Cowboys are going to send somebody out there to his pro day. Gerald Jackson said betting on his squad, that speaks to character. Man, I don't think it gets no worse than that. Everett says Sorsby should be banned from the NFL. I agree. I agree. Man, let me tell you something, Everett. The NCAA fought this dude tooth and nail. He got an injunction by some judge. Then the Big 12 came down and said, no. Big 12 came back and said, we're going to sue you. You're not playing in this. You're not playing again. They made Sorsby say uncle. They made him give up. He was still trying to play. And to me, not only is it speaks to his character about his gambling, it also speaks to his character about the fact that he violated that rule and the rules and was trying to force the NCAA to let him play. Now, I don't want no part of that. I don't want no part of it. Yes, Sydney's fan, I think it's preseason. But he did start. If I'm not mistaken, he did start. The real Daryl said anybody that claims to be a Cowboys fan is advocating for Soares to play for Dallas is not a Cowboys fan. Man, there are people out there saying they want this dude to play for the Cowboys. And it's crazy to me because people talking about, oh, there's not many quarterbacks out there that can run a 4.4 and is 6'5 or 6'5 and 235. I don't care if he's 7 feet tall, 290 pounds and running a 4.3 40. No, from the Cowboys, no. 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 Double no. Do not bring this guy on. The real estate vet said, I bet you a bridge in England, the Browns would take Brennan. Real estate vet, guess what? Todd Monken already came out and said they want no part of it. Todd Monken said they do not want any part of this with him and that issue of gambling. Frank Lawrence, he said, let's talk Cowboys, best live chat on YouTube, no doubt. He said, no Sorsby. Expect nothing but bad behavior from a degenerate gambler. He risked his career and he lost. Man, ain't no way. And there are people out here talking about, yeah, man, the Dallas Cowboys, if it's just if it's a third round pick, man, I don't care if it's a 9th round pick. He don't need to come to the Cowboys. Ron Mack said if Sorsby just gets a smack on the wrist, why would he want to change? And I'm all for giving someone another chance, but without consequence, why would he even want to change? Ron Mack, not only that, you set a bad precedent. You let him get away with it and then run to the NFL, the other people will do it too. Other people will do it too. You will have no legs to stand on. Everett, can you see him on the team shaving points? Yes. Yes. He would never, man, he would never. Everett, could you imagine this? Everett, every interception you'd have in the back of your mind, did he throw that interception on purpose? Every fumble, did he fumble that ball on purpose? Every sack, did he get sacked on purpose? Even incompleted passes, did he throw that ball like that on purpose? I would never have a guy like this on my team. My conscience could never trust him. My conscience would never be able to trust a player like this. Never, ever be able to trust it.
In the locker room, no way in hell do I want a guy with the ball in his hand playing the most important position, knowing that I don't know what his intentions are. This is the sport that feeds my family. I'm all for grace. I'm all for giving people 7 chances. But damn it, he didn't bet on 11 million games in his collegiate career. Yeah. No way in hell, because everyone knows, every football player knows that you don't bet on games.
Yep, I remember that, the real Daryl. We had Cowboys fans want to draft Johnny Manziel. Yep, want to draft Johnny Manziel. It would have been nothing but problems. Michael Waters said if the great Pete Rose got a lifetime ban from MLB, the NFL needs to impose that for this chump. Bro, it is banana bonkers to me that there are people out there advocating the Cowboys to go get Brandon Sorsby. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. You would have no leg to stand on. And you're telling me that you got to see another year from George Pickens and you go get Brandon Sorsby? Nah, bruh. You lose all credibility. You lose all credibility. Yeah, let him start in the longest yard too. Yes, sir. Marco said, I don't know why he's even coming up to Cowboys' name. There are people out there in Cowboys land, Marco. They're advocating for this guy. Wet work, he said, G. Sorcerer ran a 4.65. Betting on his team is non-starter. Can't do it. Can't do it. I'm like Damian Woody. I'm sorry, y'all. I'd never be able to sleep with this guy. I'd never be able to sleep with this guy as a quarterback. Never. Never would I be able to sleep. I would never be able to sleep with this dude as the quarterback. My conscience wouldn't allow me. Every mistake he would make, I would wonder, is that really a mistake? I'd always be wondering, there's no way I could get a guy like this. There's no way. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you've ever known somebody that's had a gambling problem. Shoot. You think drug issues are bad? Run into somebody that's got a real gambling problem. Shoot, they'll blow your mind. They will risk everything, and I mean everything. They'll risk their life. They will risk their life for the thrill. They will risk their life for the thrill of gambling. Nah, man, let me tell you something. Those type of people are different. They're different. That's a serious issue. And anybody who's ever had a gambling problem, they'll tell you that is a serious issue. You don't just get cured from gambling, being a chronic gambler. You don't get cured in the amount of time that he's saying that he's been cured. No, you don't change that fast. You don't change that fast. Demetrius said, gee, if I can get what I want being the way that I am, why change? Yep. Nah, he ain't replacing Dak Prescott. I guarantee you. And Kate, let me tell you something. They're lying about this dude. He's not that good. He's not that good. They want to tell you he's that good. He's not that good. And there's people out there talking about him in the same breath with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes? Get out of here. People talking like that, the man's crazy talk. Man, that is crazy talk. He's not even in the Patrick Mahomes conversation. He is not in the conversation. And there are people who are saying he would have been a first-round draft pick this year. Do we realize this is one of the worst drafts for quarterbacks we've had in a long time? This draft was terrible not terrible, it was terrible. This draft was terrible for quarterbacks. Man, what are they talking about? This draft was terrible. Ty Simpson wouldn't have won in the first round in most drafts. And even that was an inside job. Man, this draft was terrible for quarterbacks. Talking about he's a first-round talent. In what draft? Nah. They're overhyping this guy. And and I don't even think the talent warrants you to overlook what this guy's done. Let him get some real help. And somebody. All right, it looks like they are working on something over here. So I'm gonna tell y'all what I'm gonna do. For all of y'all who are still on here, we're gonna come back tonight and we're gonna do Cowboys After Dark. This is nothing on my end as far as my router, all this stuff. I got the best stuff that you can buy as far as you can get. So we're gonna come back on Cowboys After Dark. We are having some more bandwidth issues over here in this Dallas area. Man, I apologize for that. You know, it's been storming over here. I don't even know what all that means, but it's not been working right. So, man, I will see y'all again tonight for this mishap, and I'm sure should be fixed by tonight. Until the next time, DC4L, God bless. Let's talk Cowboys when we talk facts. Peace.